Turkey's path through Syria into Israel was already bad. But with this guy in power, it's like rolling out the red carpet. And that's why I tossed that in there, because Turkey, of course, in the infamous Gog-Magog invasion, is going to be one of the invaders. And so whether Assad is in or this new guy, it really doesn't matter. Turkey is poised to enter Israel whenever she wants to, essentially. And in fact, the new fella in there may actually, expedite things.
Yep, that's right. So that's very interesting article right there. All right, so let's go to the next one. Turkish invasion in Syria could be imminent. U.S. officials fear report. The officials cited a significant Turkish military buildup near Kobani and a Kurdish majority city on the Syrian-Turkey border. Again, we dealt with that yesterday, that this is, building up. But I want to get your feedback on it.
Well, it's built up to the point where the United States, seems to be involved in, trying to use whatever pressure they can to stop the buildup. And it's just more of what is related in the first article, that Turkey, it's just fascinating. Turkey was the place where Israelis used to take their vacations. I mean, Turkey used to be pro-Israel, but we've watched Turkey disintegrate in our lifetime. We've watched them stop all trade with Israel. We've watched Erdogan make every outrageous statement he can make against Israel. And now we're seeing this imminent invasion. And we're seeing in Syria, the Assad regime toppling, which is expediting Turkey's path. So, I realize we're finished with Thanksgiving, but we're talking a little turkey here. Let's talk turkey. And it's just fascinating to me how Turkey is right on course to invade Israel, as Ezekiel 38 and 39 indicates, and that was predicted 2,600 years ago. So we're literally living in the time of Ezekiel, in my estimation.
Wow. The stage is being set, no doubt about it. Let's see. Let's go to the next one. Russia warns Israel against annexing Golan Heights. Dr. Woods?
Yeah, well, this is, because people have asked a lot about what does the toppling of the Assad regime in Syria mean? And here's another example where that toppling is paving the way to the Gog-Magog invasion, where Ezekiel doesn't just predict Turkey's invasion, but Russia, coming from the remote north. And so the Israelis are moving into the Golan Heights. I think I have some maps there if people are interested, but the Golan Heights is kind of that mountainous buffer zone between Israel proper and Syria, where the big three, Russia, Iran, and Turkey, are perched. And it's obviously a key defense place for the nation of Israel. And now the Israelis are moving into the Golan Heights because of weaknesses that they sense in Turkey. And here comes Russia saying, hey, knock it off. That's not your territory, which to me makes perfect sense, because the Russians are going to need that territory to invade Israel, in the last days. So it's just what you said before. It's just more and more examples of stage setting, whether it's Turkey or Russia invading Israel. That he was kind of running off the rails a bit was when he had John Rich on.
Yeah.
I mean, what's his expertise on Bible prophecy? Well, he's a guitar player, so I guess that a singer, entertainer, I guess that gives him, credibility to speak on things that he obviously doesn't know a lot about. But he has this guy on, and he basically links the Scofield Study Bible and dispensationalism, back to the Rothschilds, and tries to argue that the pre-trib rapture, dispensationalism, which is very pro-Israel, is somehow part of the Rothschilds, one world cabal. Now, I do have a little bit of inside information for you on this. I know someone at my church who happens to know someone. It's one of these things where someone who knows someone knows like an in-law of his. And she contacted her, and that person in turn contacted, I think, Carlson's wife, and said, you did this thing on John Rich attacking the pre-trib rapture, why don't you have someone on like Dr. Andy Woods or Dr. Thomas Ice or somebody like that can give, the other side of the story? And what came back through the grapevine was, you know what, we got a lot of pushback on the John Rich interview, and so we've just decided to move on. And so
in other words, they got a lot of criticism, but instead of giving equal time, they're going to not touch that third rail. I mean, that's cowardice. I mean, why not say, hey, we got a lot of controversy on this. I thought controversy made for good viral clips, and it did go viral. We were all talking about it. He should keep playing it. He should say, hey, this got a lot of play, a lot of eyeballs, a lot of attention, and people were mad at me. But hey, we're going to be fair, and we're going to have the alternative view. Bad marketing. Bad marketing. Because again, he should have seen this for what it was. Another great opportunity to take up a controversial topic and discuss it. Because, I'm sorry, controversy sells. Everybody knows that. Yeah. And he could have kept this going and made people who are upset to say, well, at least he offered the other side. We're not asking him to agree with our side, but offer up the other side. He wouldn't even do that. Right. Well, there you go.
Right. Well, he's redefining journalism, which is you drop a bomb and then you just move a one-sided presentation, and then you just move on. Well, that's not journalism. That's activism. And when you posted that, I think it was on your Worldview Report website where you got the news articles. It may still be up there. You posted it, I think, yesterday, going to that one guy's Twitter X feed, and he indicates that Tucker's whole, network has been bankrolled by some Islamic guy.
Right.
That would answer a lot of questions as to why he is having all of these anti-dispensational, anti-pre-tribulational rapture, anti-Israel people on, like Munther Isaac, who I think is his correct name. I usually reverse it and call him Isaac Munther, but I think it's Munther Isaac, who's basically not an anti-Christian Zionist, and he's what we would call a Christian Palestinianist, where Jesus was a Palestinian and Jesus was allegedly born in Palestine. So why would you have all of these types of people on promoting this leftist replacement theology? Well, look, as we indicate in most things, follow the money. Who's paying the bills? I mean, if a Muslim is paying the bills for his network, stands to reason he'd have a lot of anti-Israel people on.
Yeah, it sure would. I want to go to this real quick. My buddy Gordon Chang was on with me earlier in the week on these drones, but he was just on with Maria Bartiromo. I want to play because he's saying the same thing we've been saying, or he's been saying on my show, he's saying there, but he's getting a little stronger. He's getting a little stronger on these drones. Listen to what he just said.
Communist China for many of the...
Okay, he's saying this is communist China. Some of these drones are communist China.
It certainly is communist China for many of these drones, maybe even a majority of them. The increased tempo of these drone flights against our military bases is occurring at the same time as there's increased frequency of incursions and attempted incursions of these bases by Chinese and other nationals. Really, what is occurring here is that they are preparing to attack the United States from American soil. I don't know why we need an engraved invitation from Beijing. It's clear what's going to happen. We are going to get hit, and we're not taking the necessary precautions to protect these bases and to protect the American people.
Yeah, he's 100% right. Bible prophecy, doesn't show America anywhere that I can see. We're not Babylon, as you and I both agree. Some discuss. We're not Babylon. But something's going to bring us down. And one has to wonder whether it's World War III, cyber hacking, EMP, nuclear war, war on our own soil, something. But Gordon Chang is increasingly warning Americans, you better get ready. It's going to happen. Your thoughts?
Well, I mean, obviously, Gordon Chang is the go-to guy on China. He knows everything there is to know about China's hostile intentions and globalist ambitions. To me, that fits Bible prophecy very well because I'm understanding the kings of the East there in, Trumpet Judgment 6, and bowl judgment 6. And this is the position that Dr. John Walvoord, takes in his Revelation
Revelation 9,
commentary.
I think.
Yeah, I'm sorry, Revelation. Thank you. You're studying Revelation, so you're more of an expert on it right now than I am. But Revelation 9 and then Revelation 16 is what I was trying to say. 6 trumpet, 6 bowl. This massive army coming from east of the Euphrates River, making its way into the land of Israel to participate in the final battle called the Battle of Armageddon, destroying a third of the world's population. And keep in mind, a quarter of it's already been destroyed in chapter 6, taking the world's population down 50%. I mean, who is this giant army? A lot of people say it's demons. I don't disagree with the fact that it's demonically influenced, just like Peter was demonically influenced. But Peter was a real person that Satan was using in Matthew 16 when he tried to talk Jesus out of the cross. And so what I think is it's a demonically energized army. They're coming on horseback. I mean, I don't know demons in the Bible that ride on horseback. They're not coming out of the abyss, as in the 5th trumpet judgment. They're coming from east of the Euphrates River. So it looks to me like and remember, the Euphrates River is that line of demarcation between the Middle East and the Orient or the Far East. And so Satan strategically drives up that river to expedite the path of this giant army. And Dr. John Walvoord says, who could this army be? And he indicates it very well could be the nations of the Orient, Japan, India, Indonesia, I think it is, and also China. And so when Gordon Chang is talking about the belligerent, bellicose activities of China, I'm thinking Bible prophecy.
Yeah, indeed. Look at this headline. Republican U.S. Senator introduces bill to ban federal use of the words West Bank. That's a derogatory term. Really means Judea and Samaria. And he wants federal legislation to have to all refer to it as Judea and Samaria, not the West Bank. And what U.S. Senator, folks, do you think is doing that? Because, some of these U.S. senators are anti-Semites, in my opinion. So I'm thinking, which one would be that senator to do this? And it's none other than U.S. Senator from Arkansas, Tom Cotton.
Yeah, that's music to my ears because, first of all, West Bank is a politically charged term because what they're talking about is Judea and Samaria, which is not west of Israel. Okay, Judea and Samaria is east of Israel. So when you use the expression West Bank, you're taking a position on who owns the land from the Jordanian point of view. And so therefore, when you use the expression West Bank, it's a term that's loaded with politics, and most people don't understand it. It's like using the word Palestine, which is a loaded term, a non-biblical term, and anti-Semitic, at its core. When you study where the name Palestine came from, Emperor Hadrian in the 2nd century grabbed the word Philistine and developed the word Palestine, the Philistines being the perennial enemies of Israel in Old Testament times. And so Hadrian named the land of Israel after Israel's enemy, the Philistines. That's where Palestine came from in his attempt to de-Judaize the land and make it sound in the 2nd century AD as if there never was a Jewish presence in the land. In the same way, that's how the word West Bank is used. And the Bible never uses the expression West Bank. I mean, Jesus didn't say, you're going to be my witnesses in Jerusalem, the West Bank, and the remote parts of the earth. He used the expression Judea and Samaria. So when people throw this term West Bank around, they're using a non-biblical term and they're using a politically loaded term. And I think the fact that Tom Cotton wants to change the nomenclature in federal bureaucracy and legislation back to Judea and Samaria, I think that's a wonderful thing. And it may invite the blessing of God, on our country, as our country is now in need of blessing and seems to be on the precipice of unraveling.